Tuesday, April 19th, 2010. Before we start, it's been another sad week in Londonderry. Peter Sohm, age 23, died in a plane crash in Texas last weekend. Peter was a 2006 graduate of LHS and a graduate of the Air Force Academy and a second lieutenant in the Air Force. His mother, Mary Sohm, teaches special education science at Londonderry High School. We also lost Jake Newell, 21, who died suddenly on April 9th in Los Angeles. He was born in Derry and graduated from Londonderry High School's adult education class last spring. And Becky Galing, 23 of Londonderry, died last week in her home with her mother, Fran Galing, as the result of a house fire. Becky graduated from LHS in 2005. Fran was a well-known community activist and volunteer. A remark that Tom Hanks said once, accepting an Academy Award, is going through my mind. It's that heaven is too full of angels. These people, all of them, were valued members of our community who were taken from us much too soon. And we'll miss them, and our hearts go out to the moms and dads and brothers and sisters who remain. And the only thing I can offer is that we'll continue to make our best efforts to promote and support the kind of opportunities that we were able to give these kids, and that Becky's mom worked so hard to try to ensure for everybody else coming along in the town. So if you would join me, please, for a moment of silence. Thank you very much. Professor Ballard, I wonder if you would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First on the agenda, senior project presentations. Mr. Parent and Mr. DeFrancesco. I don't think so.
Good evening. I am very excited to update the school board on how our senior projects have been going in this pilot year. As you may recall, 18 seniors chose to pursue this self-directed learning experience, and they're here. A few are here tonight to share their journey throughout this year. We asked them at the start, at the onset, to pose an essential question that they sought an answer to, and to do some action research which would support that endeavor. They have finished that research. They're putting their final portfolios together. And I'd like Mr. Dutton, who deserves a lion's share of the credit and who has facilitated the senior project this year, to just speak briefly about that, the work with their mentors, and then our shining stars here will talk about their experience.
This has been a year-long process for them where they worked alongside a mentor, staff member in the building. And there's 2 events coming up. The first one in May that really culminate this year-long project. The first is the senior roundtable, where they'll be presenting their portfolio and all their work, which you'll get a little snapshot of tonight, to 5 faculty members and also 5 their mentor and 5 other individuals that they get to invite to this roundtable, where it's a half-hour presentation. And the culminating event is June 6th at 6 o'clock. The kickoff is the senior week. They'll be presenting to the community, parents, staff, and the members of the community looking at their senior project, and it'll be a formal start to the evening and then more of a kiosk where they'll be able to go around and really be able to share what they've worked on all year. So I'd like to introduce the 3 seniors that have been working on the senior project, Nick DeFrancisco, Caitlin Rimmel, and Nick Keniston, and just give you a quick sampling of what they're doing. Nick, if you want to go first.
Hi, I'm Nick DeFrancisco, and I'm putting together a show. And I'm not just putting together. I'm kind of organizing, producing, directing, and performing in a show. And the show will raise money for the LHS music department for a scholarship fund in which a student who can't really afford private lessons but really wants to audition for a statewide competition known as All-State, and they want to get in, and they really want to aspire, they can get the scholarship, and they can use it for private lessons. And I'm also running a canned food drive at the door for people who want to get $5 off their ticket to get into the show. Go ahead.
When's the show, Nick?
Oh, the show is May 7th at 7 p.m. And I have free tickets for you guys. So could you pass me that? And feel free to donate.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And what is the show?
The show is a combination of acts that I'll do solo performances in which I'll sing, play violin, I'll play guitar. I play 11 instruments, so I'll just pick a few and play. And I'm bringing in wonderful musicians from our school as well. So just to name a few, Devereaux Geiger, who is one of the drum majors of our band, and he's playing piano.
Yeah.
And then the lovely sounds of the trumpet, Mr. Jamie Baccia, will be playing a violin trumpet duet with me in the show, which is actually really, really fun. It's been really fun. I don't know what else to say.
So this is Saturday, the 7th of May at the Derry Opera House. Now, how can people get tickets? Are you selling them in advance, or is it all at the door?
Well, there are posters around town. Well, I'm trying to get them around town, but I've made posters, and I've made little posters for school as well. And the way you get tickets is that you can call the number on those posters, or you can find me in school, because I'm always in school. And this is basically for students. Find me in school and just approach me and just say, hey, I want to buy a ticket. And they'll give me $15 or canned good, which is nice. And I'll just give them a ticket. It's really...
What's the phone number?
Oh, it's actually my agent's cell phone number, who is also my father.
If you'd like to put it out there, go ahead.
Dad, can I put that out there? Okay. No, don't go calling him. Okay, so it's 603-493-3869. And he's generally a nice guy. So
He likes taking calls at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's up then. So I'd appreciate if you guys come, because it's going to be a great show. You're going to see a lot of talent there, and I'm not just talking, definitely not just talking about me. Like, we have a lot of musical talent in the school, and one of the hard things I found about this project is that I couldn't, as like an 18-year-old, I couldn't like get a hall or a concert hall. Like, I had to ask my agent, who's actually a representative of FOM, Friends of Music. So he had to rent out the hall for me, and it would have been. Well, we need an auditorium. Is the main point. That's all me. Fun stuff.
Terrific.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Caitlin. For my senior project, the question.
Did you pass out the ticket?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
For my senior project, the question that I was looking to answer is how to create a hoop house, which is a term for like a greenhouse with no heating systems. How to create a hoop house for under $100 so that people who wanted to really become like avid gardeners or grow things outside of the normal growing season, they could pursue that at their own home without really big cost. So I was working with Mr. Nee, he's the environmental science teacher, and I did like a lot of research. We came up with a design sort of working hand in hand, and my design for the hoop house is out of like PVC, duct tape, like pretty much things that people can buy. It's not a lot of money, and it ended up costing $70 to build a hoop house that was 3 by 20 feet.
Really?
So,
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, and I built it. I have it in my yard, like over my garden, and it's working pretty well so far. I've grown a few plants, and they're going pretty well. So, and then the next thing I needed to do was the other goal was to make a manual of how to do it so that I could share like my research with other people and they could apply it to their own home. So
Sounds like a good magazine article, too.
yeah. So I spent a lot of time, that's where like most of my time went, in creating the manual, and I took pictures of every step. I tried to make it like really basic and show people how they can do it. And so I finished that, and everything is good. The greenhouse is working, and senior project's almost done. So yeah, overall it's been a really good experience. I've really been able to learn a lot about something that I'm really interested in, and just have like a chance to sort of explore a new topic.
What did you cover it with?
I covered it with construction grade plastic.
Really?
Yeah, you can just pick
Cool.
it up at the Home Depot.
Very cool.
So a couple of questions, right?
Yeah.
So you have your manual. Is there a place that we can get these types
Copies?
of, well, yeah, copies for one, but another, is there a place where we can get this stuff published?
I'm not really sure about the publishing, but
Thank you.
You'll have
Thank you.
copies at the senior showcase, right?
yeah, I'll have lots of copies available there.
Seriously, there would be a lot of gardening and nature magazines that would be really interested in an article like that.
Said the chairman gardener.
And the other question that I have is,
I'm
have
surprised
we
Carol's not on
taken
speed dial
a
yet.
project like this and actually put it to use at the school?
This is the pilot year, so this is the first time that we're going to go through this endeavor and see some things will be offsite and some hopefully will be relatively close to the campus. We are going to film the showcase. It's going to kick off our senior week, so we're excited about that, and we're excited to see where this goes.
I mean, I don't know if it's something that we could do at the school where we take these ideas and actually build them, so they get the manual, they build them and they use them, and we improve upon them. I mean, things like that are kind of self-perpetuating from a student perspective.
That's definitely the idea and the goal. In fact, we're inviting the senior class to obviously partake in that showcase to see what their peers, what their classmates have produced over the course of the year, and our underclassmen as well, to give them some ideas. We even have 25 juniors currently signed up to take this to take the senior project course. Their elective next year, so it's already growing.
Outstanding.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Nick Keniston. I joined this senior project course a little bit late in the schedule, but my inspiration was I saw the school's mascot outfit is the knight suit of armor, and I saw that it was pretty beat up because it's been used quite a bit over the years. So I came up with the idea that I would make a new one in the metals room, one that could actually last. Yeah, if you want, you can show them. That's the breastplate right there. And
Put it on, Nick.
And a model.
Charge.
yeah, try the shield. Oh my god! Yeah, it's a tiny bit heavy. I think the shield's like 40 pounds.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, so like the whole thing behind this is I noticed that like the Lancer is sort of our symbol of the high school, and I wanted to make something that could last without having to be held together with duct tape or something, and I plan on taking the pieces, the finished piece, and putting it on a display case somewhere in the school. Been working on it for a pretty long time. My question when I looked into this is how like without modern technology, how they like forged armor back then, and like the purpose of the armor and stuff. Actually, I have a couple pieces on the floor. Nick, could you bring those up for me? There's the blue bandana has a sheet of chainmail in it. It's just the sleeve here. I'll bring it up. I'll let you guys take a look at this just to show you a little weight behind this.
Did you make this, the chainmail?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Really?
That's that other piece is the vambrace, which covers the forearm, and that chainmail right there started out as like 4-foot long rods of wire that I had to coil up, cut, and then bend together.
Wow.
But yeah, back then, to make a full suit of that, it would take like at least like 10 people working on it for about a year to make a full suit of that. But I just did a small scaled down version to fit on the arm. Yeah, and the purpose of this is I made it so that it's like you can wear it and it's adjustable, but I wanted to make it so that whoever is chosen to be the mascot for next year and the year after that could wear it for pep rallies and stuff like that to go out and show school spirit. So it's fully functional, I guess you could say. Not necessarily going to get in a fight with it, but I wanted to make it as wanted to make it as like historically accurate as possible, but also for its uses as functional as possible. So
Nate might want to borrow that for budget season.
Yeah, a bunch of us might.
Is it Dragon Slayer ready?
And that's just a brief sampling of the 18 that will be on June 6th at the Senior Showcase. So,
Excellent.
We are very, very proud of these seniors. That's a true capstone experience. They've taken all the skills they've learned over 4 years and then implemented it into an area of interest, and they've just done a fantastic job.
And the showcase is the 6th at what time and where?
6 o'clock at the Londonderry High School cafeteria. And I really think, these three exemplify our school mission statement, truly being self-directed learners this past year. So,
Oh, this is just awesome. Questions from the board? Anybody? Okay. Thank you so much for coming in. This is, we love seeing these kinds of things. And we'll look forward to seeing them all in June. So thank you again.
Nick, did you have any handouts?
I did, but I
Do you
didn't.
want to do it right now?
Well, okay. You guys can keep those. They're just the posters that are hanging up in the school that I've worked on, and you can see that the tickets match the poster, and just take one. If there's not enough, like, I don't know. I think I have more. Yeah, I have more, but they're just little snippets of what's been happening. This is the what's printed online on the FOM website, and the other one's the poster hanging up in the school. Thank you.
Terrific, thank you.
Okay, I need one.
Jay, next item is yours as well.
Yep, if I could call up Mike Wenger and the math team. I'd like to introduce them. Nick, you all set there, buddy? Some help? So once again, I'm very pleased to introduce some members of the math team. They are our reigning state championship team. They have won back-to-back state championships and have won the Title 4 of the last 5 years. So, and that's a credit to Mr. Wenger, who works tirelessly. Yeah, he's always at the school doing all kinds of things for this program. It's really excelled. We have great minds, obviously, who have led the way, and I'm going to let him talk briefly about their season.
Thanks, Jay. First, I'd like to introduce, this is Brian Eccles, he's a senior, and Matt Dalzell, junior, and Ragnar Kempf, one of our sophomores. So,
Well, congratulations and welcome.
thank you. Thank you very much.
What drew you into a math team?
He did.
He did. How so?
He kind of cornered me in the hallway one day.
Is that how it goes?
Not always. No, not always.
How about the rest of you?
I've been on the team, the state team, since I was a freshman.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had the championship 3 times. And I joined the team freshman year because I was really into math. I did well in math in middle school, and I wanted to kind of test my math skills.
Are you still into math? I mean, is that what you're looking to major in, or an element of it?
Not entirely. I'm looking to major in engineering.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy math.
Mm-hmm.
I never looked at it as something to go into.
Okay. How about the rest of you guys?
I joined the math team when I was in 8th grade, leaving my last class every Wednesday to go down for practice, and I basically joined also because I'm really into math, and yeah.
So what does a math team practice look like?
Good question.
Looks like a lot of people sitting at desks working on problems.
What kinds of problems?
Sometimes we get together and help each other. Each competition is made up of 5 categories. They vary. We have 6 meets over the course of the year, and the state meet. And we have to choose 3 of the 5 categories to participate in, and each category has 3 problems. So we have practice packets of past year's problems to practice with.
What are the categories?
It varies from meet to meet. Generally, they have some that are lower level maths, like Algebra 1 and geometry. And then there are also some that are progressing to higher levels, such as Algebra 2 trig, pre-calculus, statistics. So it varies from meet to meet. You'll have, one meet will have number theory, which is general arithmetic, and the next one will have matrices, which is an Algebra 2 trig class.
So you have to be proficient in all of them. How is that when you're just coming into it as a freshman? Do you get to pick the ones that you might have been exposed to before, or are you just having to do all of it regardless of whether you've studied at that level yet?
We try and take care of the underclassmen a little bit more as upperclassmen because, we try to pick the categories that we know. Partly it's because we've cut, like, for example, Brian and I are in, honors pre-calculus, and you're in Calc AB, right?
AP Calc.
Yeah, AP Calc. So we try and choose the categories that we've covered most recently and that we feel more comfortable with, and try and leave some of the lower level math categories for the younger students so that they can still comprehend the material. Plus, what Mr. Wenger does very well is he has a packet of the information and how to solve various problems. So it's kind of like taking the math chapter just in a packet. And so even, things that we haven't learned, we can still kind of pick up from that and apply.
You guys are so far beyond my level, it's not even funny anymore. John, Nancy, anybody? Ron?
How many members are on the team?
This year we have approximately 25. So
How are they broken up by grades?
we're predominantly seniors and juniors this year. So we could really use a few sophomores and even a few freshmen. So And we'll really miss our seniors. They've provided a lot of great leadership. And
Kind of a real question is when is tryouts? Like when do you start math?
actually, anybody could join at any time throughout the year.
Does it go year round?
It is year round. We have 6 competitions. The first Wednesday of September, October, November. I get that wrong. October, November, December. And then February, March, and April. Our state meet is usually towards the end of March. We go to New England's the Friday coming up during our vacation. And then we go to Nationals June 3rd, 4th, and 5th, which is at Penn State for people in the Northeast. So it is pretty much year round.
And we plan on going to nationals?
We are.
Excellent.
Yes.
Amazing. Excellent.
Yeah, I like the fact that you're considering making sure that you have the freshmen and sophomores and you don't have them all top. That messes up football teams too, doesn't it? Any of you involved in music? Two out of 3. I understand there's a close relationship. I have a niece that's heavily involved in math and music both.
The first year we went to Penn State, in fact, every single person in my van was involved with music. So
It's funny with music, you have to be able to count to 4, so it does require some higher level math skills.
Do you find
It does have fractions too, with half notes and quarter notes, right? So there you go.
Notes,
You know,
16th
since you
notes.
brought that up, we understand the town's trying to rename Perimeter Road, and some of us up here were trying to come up with some other names they could select. It goes around the airport, by the way.
Yeah, so Circumference Road came up. with
Circumference.
Circumference
Pretty
Circle.
simple.
Roundabout.
Get back to you on that.
pi times diameter. Yeah.
Yeah.
See?
Do you find that participating in the math team helps with your coursework? I mean, obviously the coursework helps with the math team, but I wonder if it flows both ways.
I've tried to do like the more advanced categories ever since I was a freshman, just because I like to challenge myself and learn new things. Usually, the categories correspond to a certain level in math. So, in your freshman year in geometry, you'll probably be doing like the simpler categories in the geometry and the Algebra 1 categories. And as you move up to Algebra 2, usually there's an Algebra 2 category in each section that opens up to you as you're in that class. And usually as the curriculum goes on through the year, it corresponds well to what the category actually is. Like if you're doing logarithms in Algebra 2 around February, logarithms is a category in the February meeting.
So who's the stiff competition that you guys face?
In our division, we also compete in a league, which is the 6 meets that I mentioned earlier. In our division, Pinkerton sometimes win a Cunnet if they're in our division, or if they're in the lower division, then of course it wouldn't apply. But and overall, Amesbury, we compete in what's called the Tri-State Math League. Southern Maine, Northeastern Mass, and Southern New Hampshire. So those are our perennial adversaries, if you will.
Anybody else? Jay,
Yeah.
do we give varsity letters for teams such as this?
I believe the varsity letters are given with athletics, but with pins and other awards that you get on Academic Awards Day. I think that's when we acknowledge the math team and the recipients, correct, on our academic awards.
I believe we give letters in music, don't we?
Yeah, I can look into this, Mr. Chair,
Yeah,
if you'd
and
like.
Maybe there's a place for banners highlighting
We have banners, though, don't we?
state and regional championships as well. Thanks very much, guys.
Thank you.
Impressive beyond my ability to, I mean, you mentioned logarithms. Yeah, I would have been real useful to the team that semester. So, our congratulations and our awe, and thank you very much for coming in, and great work. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
I thought Nancy.
Oh, Nancy, I'm sorry, guys.
Oh, that's all right.
I'm sorry, Nancy.
That's all right. You know, when you're new, they ignore you.
Girls don't like me.
I know.
Oh, no, it's guys
Oh,
that don't
careful,
like me.
careful. Yeah, don't go there. When you go to competition, what is the criteria for judging? How are you judged?
There's really no partial credit. It's either right or wrong.
Right,
And
but, no, I understand that, but right, I get that. But when they're judging the problems, is there a different level of problems that you all
well,
work on?
as Brian mentioned,
Yep.
there's the 5 categories.
Yep.
And there's 3 questions in each category. Generally, they go a little bit easier, a little bit harder, and then a little bit harder. That's not always the case, but oftentimes. And then after the categories, there's also a team competition. At the state meet, the team competition was first, and it was also an essay. So it was a little bit different, but along the same lines.
Yeah.
And the questions are basically 3 points apiece, and at the end of the day, you total up the points and
Yep.
see who comes out on top.
Cool.
So
All right, thank you.
you're quite welcome.
Thanks again.
Thank you, guys.
Switch seats here and
Okay.
recognize some individual winners if I can. Franklin Pierce University honored our newspaper advisor, Mary Lucas DeWinkler, on April 11th with the Fitzwater Medallion recipient. She was a recipient for contributions to the public discourse. And if I may, I just want to read a brief introduction before she received that award at Franklin Pierce. We can ask no more of our teachers than what Mary Lucas DeWinkler offers her students at Londonderry High School. Mrs. DeWinkler has taught English in Hungary, Alaska, and Arizona, but it was only when she moved to New Hampshire 6 years ago that she entered the world of high school journalism. At the time, the Lancer Spirit was a small pamphlet. It is now a monthly, full-size, 40-page newspaper that tackles the issues that are important to her students. She is working to bring the publication online, and social networking tools are employed to bring timely news to the nation. To preserve her students' First Amendment rights while instilling in them a strong sense of ethics has earned her the respect and accolades of educational, political, and media leaders throughout New England. Yet she herself is humbled by her students' work ethic and dedication to their craft. Because she is inspiring a new generation of voices, because she champions their First Amendment rights, because she teaches her students to exercise those rights responsibly, Franklin Pierce is proud to bestow upon Mary Lucas DeWinkler the Fitzwater Medallion for contributions to the public discourse.
Congratulations. Thank you for the
We joked that I was gonna have a torch while I strutted with the, with the medallion, so there it is. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions
Do you have any
or
questions
comments?
or anything you wanted to
Excuse me?
ask me? Was there anything you wanted to ask me?
Just hold that up for the camera, because they're shooting it.
Oh, the big medallion. They actually spelled my name, Lucas and DeWinkler, correctly, which is quite an accomplishment, so.
I can't say it, but they spelled it right.
I wanted to say, the medallion, oh my God, as I fall. Hello, everyone. As I, the one thing that I was really cool about the night of the award was that 6 of my editors made the hour-and-a-half trek all the way out to Franklin Pierce. So they were sitting in the front row. They bought me this orchid and this card, and the medallion is wonderful, but this card, it makes me want to cry just thinking about it now. This was amazing, so.
Well,
Awesome kids I have.
Mary, as somebody who's had a little bit of experience in high school and college and professional newspapers and things like that, the work that you and the students do is simply awe-inspiring. It is on a par with most, well, on a par with all and better than most college newspapers I've ever seen. It's just phenomenal.
Thank you. It's the kids work, they treat it like their full-time job, so they're actually, we're preparing for our Mr. LHS competition on Thursday. They're all over there right now, so working on that. Work really hard, so.
Great.
But thank you so much. This is so special, thank you. I fell out of my chair, I was so touched, so.
I could call up Diane Malley. This is truly an awards night. You have Leo awards, you have all the high school
love it.
awards. You're welcome. This is our curriculum coordinator, Diane Malley, and she is receiving the New Hampshire Advocate of the Year Award for Project Running Start on May 9th. The event's held at the Grapponi Center in Concord, and the governor himself will be presenting that award. Part of the nomination, I'm just going to read a brief clip of the nomination. Diane's supervision and management of the Running Start program has evolved into one of Londonderry High School's most successful academic endeavors. She's a wonderful resource for our teachers in the program. She maintains an optimistic perspective and has an outstanding work ethic. She is also a careful planner and always carries out her professional responsibilities to the highest degree. This combination of qualities mirror those we foster in our students taking Running Start courses. Diane is a dedicated and highly respected administrator, and her passion and former experience in the classroom serves as a model for best practice to those teachers she now leads. Her efforts have resulted in increased enrollment each year from our students accessing these courses, and she has effectively communicated its beneficial outcomes to our entire school community. She is certainly deserving of this award, and it encapsulates the essence of what she does on a daily basis with our teaching staff, serving as an advocate and very valuable resource to them. Diane Malley is the Advocate of the Year.
I thought I was going to keep those.
So the superintendent, assistant superintendent, and I get to cash in on a wonderful breakfast at the Grapponi Center to see Diane receive her award on May 9th.
How long have you been doing this work?
As the liaison for Project Running Start, this is my 4th year, but I was one of the first Project Running Start teachers back in 2001, when we only had 17 students, 16 marketing students, which were mine, and then one C++ programming student. And this year, we have 256 students signed up for a total over the years of 1,349 students.
Wow,
outstanding.
You mentioned 250 students. In how many different subjects is that?
We have 16 different subjects, mostly in business and computer department, the science department, and the mathematics department, and then the introduction to engineering courses.
That's amazing.
Diane, for the general public who may not be aware of what a Project Running Start course is, could you just give a brief explanation?
All right. We have a partnership with the Community College System of New Hampshire, and we work with 3 particular colleges depending on the course. Manchester Community College we use mostly, and then the NHTI in Concord for our engineering program, and for some of our like computer maintenance repair, we work with Great Bay Community College. So about approximately 70 high schools in the state work with the community college system to offer Project Running Start courses where students have dual enrollment. So while enrolled in high school, they are taking a course that is equal to the college course. We do have to have scrutinized from our program of studies and our curriculum. It has to match what they do, and often we use the same textbook. Our instructors have to meet the same standards that an instructor would have to meet at the college level. So they have to submit their transcripts and their credentials. They have to have a master's degree and so forth. And if everything is approved, then our course can become a Project Running Start class. And we do try to use the same textbook as well. So the students save a lot of money. Students do have to pay $100, and it's been $100 since 2001. The fee has never gone up. And for $100, they earn 3 and sometimes 4 credits, depending on the course at the college level, that they can transfer to any college that they do go to. I think Mr. Campo's son has taken advantage of some of those
Yes, he has, and he's enjoyed it tremendously.
And has done very well.
$100 for 3 college credits. You can't
And
beat that
sometimes
either.
4. Some of our courses carry 4 college credits, like our anatomy and
really.
physiology and our biotechnology.
Yeah, just in plain English too, I mean, any student that, to translate this, I know sometimes the words and things we use get confusing, but any student should really consider this as an option in the school system. I know I was myself in high school an early adopter in Syracuse University. We had a relationship with them, and it really wasn't the financial thing to me at the time, although that was certainly nice, but the big surprise came when I forgot to tell the college that I had done this, and I really wanted to take this elective, and they said, there's nothing you can do, and I said, boy, it's too bad, because I took that course in high school, and I ended up not having to take English, and I got to take the elective I wanted to take. So for students, I mean, the benefits are more than the money.
Absolutely. It truly gives students a running start to school, because not only they don't understand the cost savings involved because they haven't encountered the college bill just yet, But it does give them the opportunity to take additional courses because they already have credits under the belt. Some students go to college with 12 or more credits already when they start.
That's amazing. Go ahead, Becky.
I'm just finishing up my senior year, and I've taken 2 Project Running Start courses, Biotechnology and Honors Physics. So I'll have 7 credits by the end of this. And like you said, $200 for 7 credits is just awesome. Now I'm starting to see the financial impact of the college thing. So it's just been a really good opportunity to be able to do that.
You just have to remember to transfer those credits.
Yep.
The student actually has to transfer the credits on their own because they, with the college, with the paperwork to their school that they're going to.
Is it common for high schools these days to have students come graduating with biotechnology courses?
Not really, no.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so.
Great Bay
That's-
has a
that's
program
amazing.
in it, and many of the students don't even finish the program before they're hired because it's such a great need. Some of our students goes directly into the workplace, and it's a very difficult course. It's not, it's very time-consuming, it's a double period a day, it's very demanding. We are, as far as I know, the only high school that the community college allows to still run biotechnology because they find we are actually running it above the standards of the college. And they actually dropped it from their other high schools, and we are the only one running it.
Amazing. And now these classes, just to clarify, are delivered on our campus.
Yes, they are.
It's amazing. Well, congratulations and thank you so much. This is just a
Very much.
great asset for the kids.
I have one more award recipient. If I could call Judy Nazaro up. UMass Lowell will honor an outstanding teacher, one of the best we have in the building, to be quite honest with you, and that's Miss Judy Nazaro. The Sigma Chi Chapter, Scientific Research Society, is awarding her the High School Teacher of the Year. Ms. Nazaro was nominated by a former student and will receive her award on May 3rd, so we congratulate her. I don't have the nomination from the student, though, and I'd love to read it. If you do have it, I certainly want to acknowledge it.
I don't have it, but I know who nominated me. It was Bob Naylor. He was my student probably about 8 years ago, quite a while ago. And he took college prep chem with me and then advanced topics. And then he went on to University of Lowell to major in physics. So I don't know if he, I'm sure he must have gotten his degree. Did he go on to get his PhD? I don't know, but I think I'll find out next week.
We're just so
That's when I'll see him
fortunate.
again,
That's
yeah.
fantastic. Our kids love taking the courses. They're engaged doing the walkthroughs through Ms. Nazaro. You're always pulled into some dynamic and inspiring, whether it's a lab, a lecture. You're just fantastic, and we're very proud that you're representing us and that you received this award. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do you have any?
Sure,
questions or
if
comments?
you would.
Please.
You've been teaching upper level science for how long?
I've been, ever since I've been hired here. I've been here now, this is my 13th year. And I've been given such a wonderful opportunity that, of teaching advanced topics. Now, basically, when I was hired, they just gave it to me and said, here, make something. And so I've been having a wonderful time ever since. Always changing it, trying to make it better, and
What's in it?
advanced topics, it's different than advanced placement chemistry, where advanced topics, instead of just doing another year of chemistry like most AP courses do, what I do is I focus on certain topics first semester that students would have a hard time in college. And then second semester I teach organic chemistry.
Really?
Yes. And so it gives them a great opportunity to see and experience chemistry that no other AP kids will have seen. So, and it's really important, especially for anyone who's interested in going into the medical fields of any type, pharmaceuticals, because organic chemistry is known throughout the country to be the #1 most often flunked course in college.
Really?
Yes. And, and it is the make you or break you for med school.
Really?
So, yeah, so it's good that I have this chance to teach this course. So I consider myself pretty lucky.
Now, how does what you teach compare to a college level organic chem course?
They go, well, I only teach one
Yeah.
semester. So I select certain topics in organics so that when they take it, they will understand everything the professor is teaching much faster than anyone else. They have seen many, many, many things already, so that they won't have to spend their time so much learning as if they've never seen it before. Instead, they can focus on what they don't know yet. So it's going to give them a great advantage throughout the whole year. So it's going to make a big difference. Now, I would consider this, in light of organic chemistry in college, I'd consider my course more like an introduction to organic. So if colleges ever want to make organic more doable, they would have my course before theirs. So, you know what I mean? It's just hard.
Can we capitalize on this?
Interesting question.
Seriously, I mean, if we're offering these types of courses, can we expand
Yeah.
to the community and actually have some of these courses where we have outside the community come in and actually pay for them?
Yeah, I'm sure we could run some night courses along the same line.
I mean, I'm not asking
Right.
teachers to do more, but
Right.
when you start thinking about this, and if, these are skills that are real skills where kids are going in and becoming pharmacists and other job sets, why are we not looking at this if we have these skills in-house? Becky?
I have the pleasure of having Ms. Nazaro right now for advanced topics. And after taking SPAM or honors chemistry last year and then taking it this year, it's really helped me kind of decide. I knew I wanted to go into chemistry in college, but taking this class and doing organic and all these different things, it's been a really big help kind of figuring out what I really want to be specific in. And it's just been a great course knowing kind of what I might want to expect in college. And I've really enjoyed it this year.
Thank you.
What's the usual enrollment in this class?
Well, when I first started the class, I had one class of 16. And this year I have 3 classes, and I think I have about 52 kids in total.
Can we clone you?
Oh my gosh.
So next year I have 3 classes again. So I'm really excited because I really like teaching it.
Really?
It's a lot of work, though.
Really, Nate, I think John has a great idea. There must be a demand for this kind of classwork. I mean, just as you said, people wanting to have the pre-organic chem kind of work, there just feels like there should be some volume out there, some need for it. All right, thank you again. It's just awesome. Just awesome what people are doing in our little local high school. It's just always amazing.
If I may make one more announcement, we began the evening talking about senior project, kicking off senior week, and that really is an academic focus. And as you know, that's Monday, June 6th at 6 p.m. I just wanted to break down senior week quickly if I could. Tuesday, the 7th, we have our senior supper at 4 p.m. and then after senior supper, which is put on by our junior class, the seniors receive their caps and gowns for distribution. On Wednesday, June 8th, we have our senior class trip, which is the Boston Harbor Cruise from 4 to 11. We have busing back and forth from there. Thursday, June 9th, is our baccalaureate at 7 p.m. at the Palace Theater. And on Friday morning, we'll have senior breakfast at 7:30 at the local elementary schools. We'll bus to North and South, and students will walk over to MT. As tradition, we'll have our graduation rehearsal immediately following the senior breakfast in the gym. And then we are locked into the Verizon Wireless Arena for Friday night, June 10th at 7 p.m. So we heard from them. The board asked that we explore the potential for a lock-in or some type of activity. And to be honest, the senior class reps took a meeting, and that was the major focus in discussion. And quite frankly, there was a lack of student interest as far as signups to attend that. We did get a quote from the Allard Center. It'll run about $2,500 for the evening, and that's to rent out 4 rooms for our seniors if we were to take advantage of that. But we did not have much interest from the student end. Between that, finances, and the chaperones being out all week that week, we decided that we were not going to move in that direction. It wasn't a good decision, but we are keeping that open-ended for future proms and graduation dates and things like that. And each year I send out a letter, particularly when prom falls on Memorial Day weekend. I'm always concerned with our seniors having that extra day. I remind parents to please have the conversation. We echo it. We take a meeting with our kids to make good decisions in the evening and over the long weekends. And then finally on Monday, June 13th, is our adult ed graduation at 6:30. And that will really culminate the senior year and senior experience.
Are we at a point where we can discuss possibility of webcasting the graduation event?
Yes, I don't know if Ms. Ballard will talk about that during the Leo Awards, but in the last Leo meeting, which I attended, we talked about streaming graduation and quite possibly baccalaureate, and we're looking into that too. So
Okay.
I'm excited about
And
that.
the purpose for that would be primarily for service people on deployment overseas or other people who might not be able to make it into town to see their loved one graduate.
Correct. So we'll put correspondence out there and people would sign up.
Great. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mrs. Ballard, the floor is yours.
Well, good evening. Can't believe it's the 10th Annual Leo Awards, one of the most exciting media events of the year is about to unfold here. I wish I could show you a clip from all the programming that was on Leo this year, but we'd be here for about a half an hour. We had so much original programming. We have so much original programming going on for us right now that on a weekly basis, while we run programs and they repeat during the week, you don't see them again because we're so backed up with programming that we can't replay them. We do move them onto our on-demand services. So we've really made a lot of progress. It's exciting. This week we're doing lots of coverage, starting with end-of-the-year events, school plays, and the like. But we do have a short video that we're going to show you just to give you a flavor of what we've been up to. And this is... What's that? I love watching this. Screen. And here we go.
Never mind, it's all set. All set.
Music is by our fabulous Londonderry High School band. Leo's also represented by WLLOLP, our radio station, and Leo Online, our website. So that was a representation of Leo 21, but those other venues are also very important to us. So this evening, the board's going to help us to honor some and recognize some people who have made outstanding contributions to Leo this year. And we'd like to ask Mr. Campo to come down and help us as we present awards for outstanding teacher web pages to Ed Burgess from Londonderry High School, and Sylvius from Matthew Thornton School, Jen Colantoni from South School, and Deborah Dolan from South School. So if you come up, and I think Mrs. Sylvius couldn't be with us this evening, but I believe the rest are here, so. Mr. Burgess.
I do not
He said he would be here. Okay, just you chickens. All righty then. Oh, this is for Mrs. Colantoni. Yeah. Thank you. And you get this too. And this is for Mrs. Thank you very much. Our teachers do a fabulous job on their teacher web pages. Use them to communicate with their parents, with kids, and with the community at large. And please take a look at the fabulous work that they do. Every teacher in the Londonderry School District has a web presence. These are some of the finest. Thank you very much. And Mrs. Hendricks, would you please assist us? We have, for the first time ever, we have 2 middle school students recipients of an award and a high school student. So if Cameron McLeod, Riley Trainer, and Kelly Chase could please join us. Wow.
I'll talk about Kelly. Do you want to do these guys first?
I'd like to speak about, this is Cameron McLeod, and this is Riley Trainer. Gentlemen, I want you to go home tonight, do some research. I want you to look up the name Rune Arledge. Rune Arledge. He's so proud of you. He is really the world's best pioneer in multi-camera sports coverage. And these guys were fabulous in coverage of a middle school basketball game. Cameron was on camera. Riley was the mic man. I mean, he was up there with Cosell would have been proud of him. These guys are naturals, and I predict more awards in their future. Cam also helped us to cover high school football this year, and is just a natural at framing and composing shots. So we're really pleased to be able to honor you two guys tonight. And then, Mrs. Robinson, would you like to say a few words about our Kelly here?
Hi, Kelly. Okay, I promised I would keep this short. So I can't really tell you all the different things that Kelly Chase has done, but Kelly is one of the seniors who will be graduating from my advanced TV class. You all know her as one of the school board directors. Kelly has done just about everything. When I looked up there and I saw so many of the images of greatness, presentations and things, she's done that. She's done sports. She did a job shadow recently with a professional documentary maker in Massachusetts, an award-winning documentary maker, and documentary is where she would like to be, and she's working on one right now about pet therapy. And if I don't stop now, I'll keep going and going. She is one of the best, and we're really going to be missing her. But she's done so many different things across the board for Leo 21 that she definitely deserves to be
And
recognized.
when you guys get the big time, don't forget to say, "I'd like to thank Leo." You got it. And this is Riley. And this is Heather.
Back to work. Yeah, we actually did have one of last year's directors come bail Kelly out, so she didn't have to leave it locked on a wide shot. Thank you, Brandon.
And our next category is for outstanding student contribution to WLLOLP, and I'm going to let Mrs. Robinson introduce our winners here.
All right, Derek LaFleur couldn't be here, but I know that both Jordan Shay and Justin Foster are hiding in the cheap seats way in the back, so come on up.
Yes, and Mr. Iorochi and Ms. Wiles, if you would assist us with this.
All right, and I'm going to start with Justin because really he's as much Leo 21 TV as anything. He started in radio when he was a sophomore and did an awful lot of work in independent study in radio and did a lot of things that we needed to have done, always recorded public service announcements that I needed at a last moment. But Justin is another school board director. He directed the adult ed graduation in January. We'll be doing the graduation again in June. The deliberative session, he sat in last year with Brandon doing the deliberative session, so he's done a lot of live meeting coverage. But Justin is also the guy that I would go to whenever I need something done, whenever I have a problem, whenever I've got something to troubleshoot. I would be, Justin, can you check this for me, please? And you know I do that a lot, right? So that's tip of the iceberg with the things that Justin has helped out on. Derek LaFleur could not be here, but I just wanted to mention several different things. He is producing a radio project for his senior project. So if you're able to come to the showcase on the 6th of June, Derek decided to explore the Woodmont Commons project and has done a few interviews and some research on that. Derek also has probably taken the radio broadcasting class more than any person ever will in the history or the future of Londonderry High School. He's done job shadows, he's done internships, he's done weekly newscasts. He's another one who just does it all when it comes to radio. And he's done some play-by-play on our LHS varsity hockey as well. So I will take his award back to him and give it to him in class tomorrow. And last but certainly not least, we have Ms. Jordan Shay, who is the president of the Radio Club. She single-handedly recruited our huge group of freshmen at the Lancer Move-Up Day that we had last year for the first time. She had a booth and played things that we've done on the radio and recruited a whole lot of freshmen, which is awesome. She is Judy Pancoast's producer and on-air sidekick, and she edits the show for Judy's Tune Room, and she is all around whatever I need now. Jordan, can you do this? Jordan runs the meetings. Jordan does everything that you could possibly think of for supporting our young but growing radio club. So I'm going to miss these two guys immensely. You're going to have a couple of years, I think, where we're playing catch-up because we have all these freshmen. Not a whole lot of sophomores or juniors coming up yet, and then these great seniors that are all moving on. So thank you, guys.
And just so you know, too, Judy Pancoast, who is the host of Judy's Tune Room, was a Grammy Award nominee this year for Best Children's Album. So you have had the pleasure of working with a Grammy Award nominee, so that's really fabulous.
And not only was she a nominee, but she was up against Pete Seeger. So if you're going to lose to somebody, I think Pete Seeger is probably a worthy opponent.
That's true. That's true. Thank you, guys. Mrs. Robinson and I are both going to give this one. We have Anthony Jennings. Is Anthony here this evening?
Yes.
Anthony's winning the hat trick or the triple crown or what have you. He is getting his award for contributions to radio, television, and the web, because he was part of the commentary team for our football season this year, did a fabulous job, and as you know, we were live on TV, we were live on the web, we were on WLLOLP, so he's a triple threat here. Mr. Young's going to make his presentation, but Mrs. Robinson also has something to say.
Well, I'll get to start because Anthony started as a sophomore, right? A sophomore in my radio class. And on the very first day of class, I said, well, you know, if anybody's interested in sports, please let me know. And most of the time, nobody says a word. And as soon as class was over, Anthony came up and said, I'm interested in sports. And so we got him going in football. And yes, he did home games on simulcast, but also we did quite a number of away games in the freezing cold in various places, Pinkerton, and then some playoff games. Anthony branched out and did dodgeball this year. And what I particularly am pleased to hear about, and I heard this through, I guess, John Beaulieu, Anthony helped out with the basketball over at the middle school last year. And he's one busy guy, so with robotics and everything else, we can't always get Anthony to help when we want him to. So this year he couldn't help out when they did the tournament. However, my understanding is that the kids that you helped last year remembered what you told them and said, oh, you know, we learned so much from Anthony, we knew just what to do, and so evidently they did know just what to do, and they did a great job, but they remembered what Anthony had told them last year, and I think that's just awesome. So thank you very much.
Great. And now, annually, the Leo Advisory Board gives a couple of special awards, special recognition. And this year, we would like to ask Linda Lampkin from Moose Hill School and Janice Wiles from North School, please come up here. These two were nominated by their building administrators for the great work that they do in their schools. Whenever we need somebody, we can't get one of our Leo people to be there to cover one of our students, Mr. Beaulieu. These ladies grab a camera and they have recorded some of the most priceless images that we have had this year. They do a great job. They've learned a lot about composing great shots. They're always there. We rely on them so much, and so this is our opportunity to say thank you. And our vice chairman is going to be the presenter on these awards, and this one is for Linda, in the yellow, right there. And this is for Janice. And we know we couldn't do it without your wonderful contributions of our staff and our volunteers who help us out all the time. So thank you very much. This is our last award. Mr. Robinson's going to do this one. Actually, on behalf of the Leo Advisory Board, I'd like to ask Mr. Fred Telschow to come up here and get an award. And we have to make a public apology. If there's anybody who has deserved a Leo Award for about 10 years, it's been Fred Telschow, who does a fabulous job covering all sorts of musical events. And he has really been responsible for the creation of a remarkable archive of Lancer, marching band, and color guard performances here in Londonderry and all over the world. He's done a great, great job. So in addition to your certificate and your fabulous polo shirt, you're also getting a paperweight as our way of saying we're sorry. Thank you very much. You do fabulous work. You saw some of his work in our clip. We think you're wonderful.
Oh,
thank you so much.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
You're going to wear my coat.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes our Leo Awards. We look forward to having more people contribute their talent and expertise to Leo. Thank you, and congratulations to our award winners. And if you would assemble outside so we can take a photo of a group shot, we would really appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sue. The consent agenda, may I have a motion, please?
So move.
Is there a second? Motion by Ron, second by John. The one thing to mention is upcoming meetings are May 10th at 7 PM here, and May 24th also here at 7 PM. Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor of accepting the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Our next item is committee reports, as always, starting with Becky.
At the Wellness Fair last Thursday, the 14th of April, the Student Council had almost a dozen members volunteering, both at the welcome table and the blood drive. Many volunteers agreed that it was one of their favorite events because of its involvement in the community. The Student Council and the class representatives are in the process of electing their new executive boards for the upcoming year. Students are now collecting student and teacher signatures. The elections will take place in the upcoming 2 weeks of school. This week at the high school is Student Appreciation Week. In order to thank students for what they do to support the school, the Student Council will be at the 3 main student entrances tomorrow morning before school starts to hand out lollipops. The last edition of the Student Council newsletter, The Counselor, was released yesterday. I have copies of it here for anyone who's interested in reading it. At the last track and field meet, the Lancers took a win against Salem. Senior Lissa Winslow beat her own personal record and also the school record on shot put. The track and field teams played again today against Concord. This week is Earth Week at the high school, which is being led by the EcoSense Club. Activities for Earth Week include turning off the lights in classrooms and wearing green and floral clothing. This Thursday, the BioConnect Club will be going to Matthew Thornton to teach the 5th grade classes about forensic science as the students try to solve the mystery of the stolen dinosaur fossils. Activities will include fingerprint and fiber analysis, as well as a look at how DNA is examined through the use of electrophoresis. The Mr. LHS will be held this Thursday in the gym. The event will feature many students, this year all seniors. Admission is $6, paid ahead of time during lunch, or $8 at the door. The show will start at 7 p.m. Also, the senior class will be hosting a hypnotist night on May 4th at 7:30 in the gym. Admission will be $5 at the door.
Thank you very much. How many more meetings are you with us?
I'm here at the May 10th meeting, and then I believe the one after that, it will be me and the new school board rep, and then after that, the new person will be on their own.
Thanks very much. Steve.
Good evening. This is the last couple of weeks in review in no particular order. From Ellen Romanowski at the middle school, wants us to know that it's National Library Month, and the middle school is doing a daily trivia contest. Questions are all about poetry. There will be a food for thought poetry gathering after school Wednesday where students will be reading and reciting poetry. Along the same lines, Lynn Jackson at the high school says that Mrs. Doobie and Mr. Wilson's Spanish classes had the opportunity to read picture books in Spanish to bilingual first and second graders in Texas. Not only did they do a fantastic job in reading the books to the elementary students, but they had the opportunity to practice their conversational skills with these children. From Nancy Laporte at North School, they will be presenting Aladdin on Wednesday and Thursday evenings. That's this Wednesday and Thursday from 6 to 8. This is the first ever full musical production for North School. There was a cast of 60, a stage crew of 60, and over 20 staff involved. They've been working on this since January, and they're looking forward to the opening night. Donations will be appreciated for help for next year's production. Bonnie Brighthop at Miss Moose Hill School, they raised $1,448.47 for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. They've run this program for 6 years for a total of $4,564.79. Staff has realized the positive impact this fundraiser, which encourages students to fill up small green boxes with spare change, has had on the students. Helping children less fortunate is a concept our students have embraced, and we hope it begins their spirit of giving as they move on to their next school community. Barbara Mee at the high school, who is the president of Epsilon Chapter, and I'll try not to mess this up. She's the president of the Epsilon Chapter and past state president for the New Hampshire branch of the Delta Kappa Gamma, which is a key women's educator international society. And she would like to announce that Ann Gaffney, special curriculum teacher at Londonderry Middle School, has been awarded 2 society scholarships as she pursues her doctorate. She received a state scholarship for $750 and an international scholarship for $6,000. Karen McDonald from the high school, the Festival for Youth made and donated 45 favor-sized spring baskets and 15 slightly larger baskets for children to the Sunshine Soup Kitchen in Derry. The baskets were handmade by the Festival for Youth and were filled with holiday candy. The children's baskets had a little more candy and small gifts like bubbles, pencils with toppers, and small bouncing balls. They will be delivered today, Tuesday, April 19th. From Carol Mack, who snuck this in under the wire at 4:23 p.m., no less. Matthew Thornton, the Universal team arranged for a visit from NED, which is a yo-yo show that is performed at the White House. On more than one occasion, I might add. The message of the show is never give up, encourage others, do your best. NED also incorporated the pause message for behavioral expectations at the school. The students were very excited about the show, and a number of them are now taking up yo-yoing as a fun hobby. Fourth graders have been working on Earth Day posters that will be judged by several people from Granite Ridge Energy, who will be visiting the school on Friday, Earth Day. Granite Ridge provided a grant that generously paid for all of our fourth grade students to visit the Courier Art Gallery in Manchester. We appreciate having such wonderful support from the community. From community businesses, I'm sorry. Our fifth grade students are looking forward to Thursday's visit from the LHS BioConnect Club. The club will be putting on a science lab for all the fifth grade students to enjoy. Finally, our fourth and fifth grade special curriculum, math, and key classes raised over $2,000 for the people of Japan who were affected by the earthquake and tsunami. In addition, two students, Elizabeth Iaconis and Michael Kennedy, led the way to have a school hat day, which added another $400 to the Red Cross relief efforts. We are very proud of our wonderful students. And then in closing, I just want to say what a wonderful time the eighth grade had on their trip to D.C. Thanks to the school board for their support, school administrators, Mr. Zakili and Mrs. Hastings, the church groups who provided us breakfast, chaperones, and without Laura Lambert's help at the middle school, this never would happen. 319 students, 39 chaperones made the trip to D.C. as well as Philadelphia. Despite some parents' requests, we still came home with the same number that we left with. And it was a fantastic, I mean, our kids, when they're put in the right circumstances, they shine without question. Fine representation for the school and for the community. I go on the trip every year, and it's just a total blast, so thank you.
Thank you very much. Liaison reports. Start with Nancy.
I don't have any at the moment, thank you.
John?
None. Nothing, but the Earth Day announcement triggered something with me, unrelated to us, but the deadline ends tomorrow. If you go to Stonyfield's website, just Google Stonyfield, they have a Earth Day 5K this weekend, and they're providing a very large portion of the fees that are paid for that race to the Beautify Londonderry Committee. So that is happening up by Perimeter Road. Come to think of it.
Circumference circle.
Right.
Circumference circle, yes.
Roundabout way.
Right. Great, thanks very much. I have nothing to add there. Superintendent's report, Nate.
Yes, Ian?
Good evening. The Londonderry School District is pleased to announce that we will offer a variety of summer enrichment opportunities to students, open to all levels K through grade 12. The purpose of this self-supported program is to promote student strengths in the academic areas of reading, writing, mathematics, sciences, and other electives, and to expose students to new areas of interest not typically included during the school year. Additionally, as in the past, students entering grades 2 through 8 will continue to have the opportunity to participate in the Londonderry Computer Camp, now included as part of the summer enrichment program. 32 enrichment offerings promise interest for any student at any level. Some offerings at the elementary level include Camp Kindergarten, the popular Teddy Bear Club for primary students. Others include a drama production, It's Glee, Summer Off-Broadway, learning about basic cooking and Cooking with Mrs. Gallagher, as well as a variety of fun-filled reading options. At the intermediate grades, we will offer Improv with the Drama Club, One Stop Before the Junkyard, Creating Crafting from Recyclables, and we will participate in Nature by Design 1 and 2. At the high school level, students will have a passion in technology, engineering, and physics, may take video production or computer programming with Lego robotics. Students will learn how to build and program robots using Lego Mindstorm NXT. Other offerings at the high school level include watercolor and get your writing published. The offerings will be from June 27th to July 22nd. They will be offered at various school facilities. I would remind the community that Matthew Thornton will not be open this summer because they'll be putting in the sprinkler system, so most of our elementary offerings will be at North and South. The costs range from a low of $20 to a high of $156. 24 of the 32 offerings are below $65. We are promoting these offerings through our teachers, our school website, the Derry News, the Londonderry Times, the Union Leader, school newsletters, Leo 21. We have an email link to parents. Hard copies are in our school offices, as well as the town hall and the library. And the deadline for anybody interested is June 10th, 2011. As a former middle school principal, I can tell you this is truly an exciting time for kids. They come in and they experience learning in a different way and different techniques, and our teachers do a fabulous job. Last year, we heard nothing but praises from the parents who enrolled their students, and we are very much looking forward to this summer as we continue to expand our offerings. Are there any questions from the board?
Yeah, can I sign up for fantasy baseball and statistics?
Along those lines, Andy, I noticed fantasy baseball and statistics are right next to bookmaking and where I'm from. May want to put those a couple,
Well, sometimes it's good to combine certain offerings.
How many kids do we typically have involved in these programs?
Well, the staffing is based on a minimum and a maximum, so it's usually, for most of the programs, a minimum of about 8, with a maximum ranging, a lot of the programs are 12, but some of them go as high as 25. When you're looking at the theater productions, those are open to quite a few kids. And based on the performances that South School, North School, and Matthew Thornton have done and will be doing in the near future with their performances, I think those numbers will be significant this summer. Kids are really enjoying those opportunities that we're offering at the elementary level to be participating in some sort of musical or play, and I think that will pay huge dividends down the road.
Our financial situation that we're facing are not going to have impact on these programs?
That's right, because this is all self-funded.
Self-funded,
Right.
okay.
Yeah. If they don't reach the minimum, we do not offer the course.
Anything else? No. Terrific. Thank you very much. This is always a great program for the community.
Super, thank you.
Nate, back to you.
Yes, Peter?
Yes. This is the third quarter financial report, and usually at this time, we're able to start really honing in on, sorry, I didn't put it there. Hone in on the expenses and the revenues for the district. As you remember, way back in January, we reported that we had a significant problem with the FY12, FY11 budget. At that time, we were running, if no controls were put in place, somewhere around $200,000 over budget. As I reported, the administration had already taken some measures into place to avoid a possible deficit at the year end. You remember that the main issue for this was health insurance, the cost of health insurance, and that was really due to an abnormally high or unanticipated amount of enrollees in the district's health plan and also in dental. And that account was reported, and it will come in close to $400,000 over budget. Adding to that problem, back in January, we anticipated that the SPED, our district placement budget in totality, and there's several lines if you add them up, was looking at $300,000 going over budget also. I'm happy to report that today that the measures put in place by the administration, and a little luck, we will ensure the district will not overrun its budget, and the district will not require or request any funds from either two trust funds, the SPED or maintenance trust funds. A couple things that have changed since January. The SPED on our district costs should come around $83,000 over budget, far less than what we thought or predicted, what was showing in January. And the restrictions that have been put into place for the use of substitutes, it's bearing fruit as those accounts, the regular ed subs and the special ed subs will come far less over budget than historically the past like 10 years since Nate and I have been here. Those two, in combination with some other things, have really added to the turnaround in the budget for FY11. And with that, at year end, we project we will have a surplus of $90,000 in June 30th. 80 of that coming from the revenue side, and we roughly guess about $10,000 on the expenditure side. And since this is the night of awards, an award should go to the administration for their help. They understood the severity of the situation, have all pitched in, and have contributed to the turnaround from really let's say January to now. So before I get into revenues and expenses, just in general, anybody have any questions on the general fund?
Nothing heard.
Okay. As customary on my memo, I provide you with two tables. Table 1 shows the trust funds for the district. You have the school impact fee, the school maintenance trust fund, the capital projects fund, and the SPED trust fund. And we show you the account balances. Those account balances are really of February 28, not March, but since not much has changed, since in 1 month. I will note that the maintenance trust fund is not showing the withdrawal that was approved. That was posted by the town in March, and obviously will show at June 30th. And a reminder that we will probably come in before the end of the year with another request withdrawal from maintenance trust for the engineering costs for the sprinkler system and the final payment for the high school track. Remember, we were holding some money until some things were done, and we'll have those two. As soon as those two come about, we'll come in for one more request. They're all budgeted, they're all accounted for, but you need to approve the request to transfer to the maintenance trust fund. The other point I want to show on table 1, the impact fee account is showing $70,000 of accumulated funds. That's important because if you remember, for the FY12 budget, we used as a revenue source the impact fee money of $100,000. So unless something that I can't foresee happens, we should have well over $100,000. So we'll be able to use that comfortably next year, and we'll see if there's any money available for the following budget process. Any questions on the revenue side of the?
At the end of the year, how much will we have in the maintenance trust accounts?
We withdrew, the withdrawal was $502,657, so we'll have somewhere about $235,000.
Then you're gonna make another withdrawal before the end of the year?
We plan to, yes. And that would be, if you remember, roughly $40,000 for the high school track, and I can't remember how much Chuck told me he would use for the engineering services to lay out, to plan out the sprinkler system for Matthew Thornton.
Okay, on the sprinkler system, it's April, almost beginning of May. Will we have enough time to get the engineering done, approved, and so we can start work as soon as school ends?
Yes.
Okay, when will
Yeah, the engineering specs, to my knowledge, either are done or he expects them in soon. So he's comfortable with the timing of the specs for the sprinkler system.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
On the expenditure side, as we stated, we have talked about the health, we talked about SPED out of district placement, and we have explained, we've told you that we should come $10,000 below the approved budget. The only few things that are new on the table to report are legal costs, construction services, professional services from the business office, vehicle maintenance, and professional services from buildings and grounds. You need a brief explanation, or did the explanation on the table?
Would anybody like to ask a question? Steve?
Special education services, the excess on that, any of that court ordered?
That I couldn't, Kim would have to explain that one.
And if so, what percentage?
We did have 2 court-ordered situations during this current school year, although the overages are mostly due to out-of-district placements that I had come to the board in either April or May of last year that would not have been budgeted for.
Thanks.
Okay.
I'm all set.
Okay,
If you
great.
have any questions. Oh, Ron does, I'm sorry.
Let me ask a question. Coming in $10,000 on the revenue side.
No, the expenditure side.
Expenditure side is
Tight.
close.
Tight is the word.
Question I have is, what should the board know that we haven't done that we expected to do?
I don't think, to my knowledge anyways, we have held back anything as far as programs or services to the students that I'm aware of. I think, like I said, you've got savings in staff turnover. You've got some savings that I mentioned in my memo from the energy costs. That was really due to a negotiated contract, mainly for the natural gas heating the middle school. We saved on oil, basically, even though it's going to break even. We've saved money based on the costs that would have been charged had we not filled the tanks. And this budget does include filling the tanks at the middle school and South School this year for next year's heating, okay? The savings, I think, on the substitute lines, if you remember, I would say on average, the regular ed and the sped substitute lines would run anywhere from $275, maybe $3.50. We're looking at about 80, maybe 90,000 over. So that's a huge savings based on allowing it to run out without putting any restrictions or controls on how we manage to use the substitute account. So that energy, the savings on staff turnover were the difference from January to now.
Thank you.
Peter, do we have a plan for the middle school to get off of oil?
It is. The only school that's on oil is South
To
School.
fill the tanks at middle school?
It still has a tank.
We use it
So
for storage.
what we'll do is we'll
Pumping
use it
it
for
around.
storage, and we'll shop around and find not only the best price, but at the timing. So we'll play the market, and then once we feel the market is at its lowest, we'll fill up both tanks.
Then we pump it around.
And then we ship it down to South School.
Okay.
Anything else? All right, thank you very much, Peter. Thank you, by the way, Ken. Did you have something else?
Next item.
Okay. Before we go there, if you don't mind, No, you can come up. It's going to be real quick. I skipped over the...
Oh, stay.
I skipped over the normal opportunity for questions or comments from anybody here attending this evening. So would anybody like to raise anything? All right. Kim, hi.
Good evening. I'm here to present the first reading of our restraint policy to the board. A new RSA 126, governing the use of restraint on children in schools and in treatment facilities, went into effect on September 1st of 2010. The law mandated that school boards have policy on the use of restraints. At that time, Londonderry did not have a policy. In developing our policy, we had already done some work a few years back, and we started from what we had created, and then we used models from Exeter, Litchfield, and Bedford, all of which were created prior to RSA 126. We did also use a model policy from the School Board Association that was drafted after the law went into effect. At the time that we were drafting ours, we couldn't find another school board that had updated their policy in line with the new RSA. We also had it vetted through our attorney and brought it to the Special Ed Council. There are 4 related parts to the policy. We already had in place policy JGA, our corporal punishment policy. We needed to amend that. That's the first policy in your packet, and it simply needed to be amended to reference that we then also had policy JGAA on the use of restraint. So we added that policy and then also JGAAE, the exhibit that goes with the policy. If you don't have any questions on the original corporal punishment policy, I would go right to the new policy JGAA.
Go ahead.
In your packet, you have the policy. It mirrors the components of RSA 126. It is a very long and lengthy policy because all of the components that the law requires have to be in the policy. It includes the definition of restraint by law, and it also includes, and I want to highlight, that both the law and our policy outline what is not a restraint. What is not a physical management of a child or a restraint includes comforting a child, the use of force by a person to defend themselves or others from a student, or preventing a student from inflicting harm, or a brief period of restriction to aid in removing a disruptive child unwilling to leave an area. If you read the law itself, it sounds a little bit contradictory. What is a restraint and what is not a restraint. As a parent or a staff member or a community member, I would want to know what a restraint meant. A restraint is physically managing a student. You are physically holding or confining a student. The message that I want to broadcast is that the Londonderry School District does not and will not use restraint to physically manage a student, except in any case to prevent injury to another student or to protect a student from self-injurious behavior. The law was written for also treatment facilities that includes juvenile detention centers, the Sununu Center, New Hampshire Hospital, where the behaviors that children are exhibiting may be much more extreme than we would encounter in the public school. And so the law is much more comprehensive than what typically would be seen in a public school. When a restraint is necessary is outlined both in the law and in our policy, a general description of the restraint, and then the following reporting requirements. For our sake, we followed the law in terms of verbally notifying a parent within 24 hours of a physical management or a restraint, and giving ourselves 7 days, which is in line with the law, to get a copy of our incident report to the parent. Typically, we get that report to the parent much quicker, but in case of an incident happening on a Friday and then a long weekend and snow days, which we absolutely have had happen, we didn't want to be violating our own policy by having too tight of a timeline. If during a restraint, serious bodily injury occurs, and that is defined in the law, we must notify the Department of Education, the Attorney General, and the state-appointed advocacy agency, which in New Hampshire is the Disabilities Rights Center. JGAA outlines the procedures that our staff would follow in implementing the policy. It outlines the training, prevention, processing, documenting, and reporting of any restraint. Here in Londonderry, we use CPI, which is a research-based de-escalation technique. 2/3 of the training of our staff that go through our CPI training, crisis prevention intervention, is verbal and nonverbal de-escalation. Only the last 1/3 of the entire training is about putting hands on students to physically manage them. The idea is that with trained staff, you don't have to physically manage a student except in the case of self-injurious or injury to others. We have 136 staff members currently certified and trained through CPI. In the last 2 years, we have also started training our staff through life space crisis intervention, which goes hand in hand with CPI, which is another verbal de-escalation and processing technique to help students in crisis without having to physically manage them. Because the law has eliminated and restricted any prone restraint where the child would be laying down and having their lungs compressed in any way, we have eliminated that piece to the CPI training and eliminated it through our policy. JGAAE is the exhibit, which is the actual incident report that would be completed anytime a physical management occurs, and it includes all of the reporting requirements of the RSA. And I will open it up to questions. One more thing I wanted to comment on. Once our policy is approved by the board, any of our out-of-district facilities, whether in New Hampshire or out of state, must follow our policy.
Now, these policies, these proposed policies are posted on the web?
They're in the board packet. They will be listed separately after this meeting.
Okay, so they will be available for review by the public online. Just the one question I'd like to lead with is, do you think corporal punishment is a bit of a misnomer for this?
For the original policy?
No, for what we're talking about tonight. We're not talking about rapping people on the knuckles with a ruler.
No, we are not. We are talking about a research-based certified staff intervening physically to prevent injury.
Right. Which is a huge difference from what might have been called corporal punishment when I was in elementary school.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We are not restraining children because they are non-compliant. We are not restraining children because they are upset, yelling, crying, throwing books. We are only restraining when they could hurt themselves or others.
Okay. Steve, did you have something?
It is available, the board packet is available online at londonderry.org. And these policies are in that packet. It's a
Yes.
PDF file. And I just think it's important because of what John just brought up. The terms, I'm sure, might be a bit inflammatory to some in the community, so they should review that because it's not at all, as I understand it, these are legal terms that have to be used.
Yes, absolutely.
I would also say CJGA as the starting document because it outlines the behavior that we don't condone nor use corporal punishment.
Yes.
You mentioned that we have 135 staff members that are trained and certified. Can you tell me who that would include? Faculty?
That includes faculty, professional, and our paraprofessional staff. We have a CPI certified trainer, Karen Turcott, at our middle school, who then is able to do all of our in-house training. And most of our assistants working with students with disabilities go through our CPI training. We do have many self-contained programs in district. It would be more likely for this kind of technique to be needed in those types of programs, so the staff working with those children are CPI trained, and many of our administrators.
Okay, thank you.
Kim, this is not only for special education.
It is not only for special education, it applies to all children.
When you say you have 136 students, faculty and staff trained in this, how is that broken down amongst the schools? Is there additional training that needs to be done here? Because I remember having this conversation. We're also talking about the playground situations at the elementary school and all those type of arrangements,
We look at the list every August and September. We look at, with administrators, any new staff coming in. The CPI certification is 2 years. You don't need to be trained or recertified until every 2 years. However, in Londonderry, we've made the commitment that for staff that are going to be expected to possibly need this, we actually recertify them, or they go through the training every year, because most staff never have to use these techniques, and if you don't use them, similar to a foreign language, they become rusty, and we don't want that. So we actually are much more conservative and do above and beyond the training to make sure that both our students and our staff are safe. So we look at it every year and make sure that all of the right people are trained.
How often do staff members need to engage in this kind of activity at any level?
We, last spring, I believe was the first time, because Tom Cranmer came to me and asked for the statistics over the summer, we needed to report to the federal government how many restraints we had. I have it in my office, but I believe off the top, it was it was certainly less than 10. I think the number was 7. There was 1 at the high school, and the remainder were at our elementary school.
And how often do we engage in a, well, for lack of a better term, higher level of intervention that would defuse a situation before it reaches the point of requiring restraint?
Daily.
Okay. Anything from anybody?
Yeah, I have one more follow-up on that. I'm wondering, in the unlikely event that this would ever happen, certainly that a substitute would be required to restrain a student, if there's any kind of guidance offered up to subs in the district?
We don't have subs that are trained. The policy does outline that in the case of needing to physically manage a situation because of student injury, if you are not trained, then once a trained staff member arrives on scene, you should immediately let them take over the situation. Typically, we don't have substitutes unfamiliar with our student population in any of the programs that this is more likely to happen.
Okay, thank you.
And I think it would be also safe to say that it would be a very unusual situation where a substitute would be alone in that situation and not with somebody in that room that was trained in the process.
And I just want to make sure, Ron, that I answered your question fully. Because the unstructured nature of playground and recess and cafeteria is sometimes where children have more difficulty regulating themselves, those children that might, be expected to need support have trained staff that go to those activities with them.
I guess I understand that, and I think I'm very comfortable with the special education population. I'm thinking of the other population that would occur, a student fight on a playground, some common occurrence, and where neither of these students would have an aide with them or something like someone there special. Do we make sure that there are trained personnel at each lunch period or each recess type of period at the elementary schools, and even at the middle school in the courtyard, where you can have a confrontation where you may have to have physical restraints to break up some students?
Right. We can absolutely take a look at that. And I know that at the high school and middle school, all of our administration is trained. Andy and myself are trained. And I know that at the elementary level, all the APs are trained. I believe all the principals, but we will double check that.
But they're not on the playground 24/7. I hope not.
No, they are not.
So I'm just saying is that I would think if you have this policy for the legal and our liability issue, that we would have to make certain there's at least a person during the recess periods and the lunch periods that's available to take over the situation.
Once duty schedules are created over the summer, we'll take a look at that. We've also made sure that any other non-special education staff that is a member of the school's crisis team has gone through the CPI training.
Is there a prescribed ratio?
For a school?
Per trained person to number of students?
Not that I have seen, not that CPI has put out.
Anything else? All right, seeing as we have received these policies in our packets, and that they will be posted online, either are now or will be by the time tomorrow rolls around, I'd like to ask the board to agree to move these items without taking the time to read them verbatim into the record this evening. So if that is acceptable, may I have a motion on policies JGA, JGAA, JGAAR, and exhibit, or procedure JGAAR, and exhibit JGAA-E.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Ron, second by Nancy. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That's 5-0. Thank you very much, Kim. That is the public session agenda for this evening. We have a few items to deal with in non-public.
I make a
Go ahead.
motion to go into non-public session requested under RSA 91:A:3, Section 2A through F.
Second. Motion by Steve, second by John. All those in favor? This is a roll call vote. Aye, John Robinson. All opposed?
Oh, I said aye.
Thank you very much. We are in non-public. Good night.